play, which is going to be Border.
So, it should be an interesting one. Soniqs immediately going to take Jackal immediately off the board. This is going to be a really interesting and weird kind of matchup because you don't really know where these two teams are sitting kind of mentality-wise at the moment. Obviously, some disappointing results from them last night, but we can see Capital Band off the border from Rogue. That is kind of a standard ban for Border, I guess.
Yeah.
Normally,
it makes things like half wall a much trickier position to play. It allows you to control corners that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get quite round to, like on monitors and CCTV.
Yep.
It's a pretty standard removal.
So I'm going to guess that Soniqs are going to remove Echo off the board, since if history says right that Soniqs don't really have a strong Echo player, but they do have a very strong Maestro player in Goddess. So we'll see how Border does go down. It'll be Soniqs who start on the defense since it was a rogue map pick. Soniqs will get to pick the sides, and they've picked to go to defense. So, I mean, I really just have no idea where this matchup is going to go. I think that, honestly, Soniqs are the favorites here.
Statistics would kind of lead you to believe, but as I said, you've got to look at the position of these two teams.
Yep.
We have seen some teams kind of get in this situation, and you know, it's not the first major teams to kind of fall foul of the way things have gone, and it's maybe the longest running. I think Rogue is to have the spot in Pro League and then drop down. So it's a big shake-up. There's some big kind of classical ones. Expect those all night, I think. But then at the same time, you know, you look at teams like Secret and the kind of resurgence that they've had post them having a pretty off season. And then you also look at how Penta have kind of fallen apart the past couple of play days after falling down. And there's two ways.
Yeah, Penta have been on a very downhill kind of spiral right now, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of just look at the recent results from Soniqs and I say that Soniqs is the more together team, especially with Sleben and Gomfi coming into this lineup. They have done wonders, especially Gomfi in particular has done absolute wonders for this roster. Even though they couldn't make it work yesterday, they can still make it work here. Of course, the winner of this matchup goes against Space Station, who historically are one of the best online qualifier teams in all of North America. I think Bosco's only ever lost one online qualifier. So
yeah, it's another thing worth considering, obviously, is whoever wins this then has to go up against SSG, who obviously looked very, very good in their previous game. They're kind of, you know, they're a well put together team, they're a well balanced team, and they're looking for that land spot. On the other side of the bracket, yeah, you still got some big names, but SSG are arguably the biggest name and kind of putting in the best performance so far across 100%. This stuff.
Well, we'll see how Rogue wants to kick things off, but it is going to be an opening frag already coming out from Easily. That Maestro player got us straight off the board that we were already talking about, and that is a great opening pick coming out from Easily there. CC control will start to go into the favor of Rogue, and we'll have a look what kind of push they do want to do here. It's kind of interesting because you normally see, when Gridlock is on the board for Rogue, you normally see Eclipse picking that up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I guess we'll have to kind of look at how they want to play this in terms of who's bringing what tonight as well, because it's always something where in a game like this where you're trying to, you know, test new things and try new things, once you're kind of in this position where, well, this is in a way all you're really playing for now. There's nothing else massively on the table in the immediacy. You've got still a potential to get somewhere with this tournament, so why not try some new stuff? Because the previous stuff you've been trying hasn't really come to fruition. Super's suffering the effects of, well, everything being thrown at the armory wall, and is going to ping it off for Neptunes to double up. But in the meantime, Vertical, bringing the Gridlock, has slew superpower player Sleben on the far side of the staircase. Gomfi is looking for any kind of aggression on this central stairs area, but is otherwise going to try and pull back and double up upstairs. But Super, in the meantime, manages to put a body back in their favor, with Gomfi finding the double and Slasher actually putting down the man inside armory.
That is a thermite down. He did manage to get open the wall, but Neptunes has managed to recover the position now behind the half wall, and I just said a very hard position to try and get out here, especially with the lack of utility that Rogue actually have in terms of like nades, or as you say, the Capital ban has definitely kind of affected that position on the half wall. It should be an easy place for them to go through. Gomfi will recognize he did get droned. He's going to push all the way up Metal. He's going to get droned out though. They know he's there. He's going to try and push him. He does still have that Nitro in his back pocket. Neptune's going to boost himself. He's going to try and retake over the Archive's control. It looks like Rogue's position is going to be compromised inside of that area. Neptune's still very worried about his flank, however, as Eclipse finds Gomfi, it's all for Neptunes to do in a 3v1 in our very first round. 40 seconds left to go on the clock. Rogue have got plenty of time to make this work. They have the 90 hold down. Slashhugger's going to start to plant defuse. Neptune's wide peeked out. He does see one, but almost gets taken down. But there he goes, and Rogue will take the first round.
Well, that kind of came together quite well for Rogue. There was a bit of battle in the middle where things started to swing at least a little bit in the favor of Soniqs, but you've got to give credit to how kind of coordinated the collapse there was from the side of Rogue. With the gridlocks restricting all the movement on long, they kind of were able to funnel all the attention to places where they had their own attention.
We didn't get to quite see it, but I think easily managed to pick up that opening frag because Goddess tried to put her Maestro cam on the top of the lockers bit. So, like, she would jump up on the monitor, go over that way and, like, kind of run across, go into the lockers, and you put it down there. And as she does that, easily shoots through the door and kills her. It's a very common pre-fire position these days, and if you're very late with that kind of setup, you can get punished for it. I'm not 100% sure that's what happened. That's the only way you can figure out that a Maestro would get picked that early. And I think that's a major reason why Soniqs just lost that round.
Well, both French ACOGs doubling up either side of Goddess. Potentially going to see some more longer angles held here in an attempt at being a little bit more, let's say, counter-aggressive this time. Try and stop Rogue before they start to be able to stop you. As you said, we saw them in the previous round being able to pick apart some of what Soniqs were trying quite early on. Curious to see what else they kind of change here. Obviously, Super is now on the Mozzie, and they've dropped any kind of hard hold on the wall that they were going to do. So they're, I guess, yeah, leaning into more of the aggressive style, potentially going to try and bury more of themselves inside CC and hold that for a little bit longer. And I guess it's seeing what they can make out of these opening ACOGs.
Yeah, looks like Net's getting ready to do some jump outs here, and yes, you are right. Looks like a kind of a heavier CC hold coming out here. Primarily from Gonfi, he just got that bulletproof cam to support his position, as well as the Maestro cam up onto 90 to see what's going on there. As Rogue are going to start their second attack, but things looking pretty good for them overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fair to say, obviously, their first round was well put together. It was well strung together. Obviously, they haven't got the opening frag as easily this time, but there is them taking care of the Neptune's run out. And that's the thing, they're droning themselves ahead. They're playing with a bit of fire, and it's being able to be, well, it's responding well. Sleben is practicing for an upcoming dance recital. In the meantime, they're just going to try and hold down CC and the half wall as the best as they can, as Slash is going to try and, well, steadily belly.
I actually really like this from Slash. Yeah, he's going to be able to try and make his way in here. It looks like no one's watching Maestro cam, but no, they will get back on it. Slash goes for the kill, and he gets it. The Goddess goes down, and now Slash has control of the site, and we've got everyone tied up around CC. Rogue are going to know that the whole site's clear right now, as they do have a lot of control. Super's going to make his way below, however. He does have that Nitro still available to himself, but Slevin's going to find Eclipse, and Gonfi finds Slashhug. This is a great retake coming out from Soniqs, but Brian shuts it down so far, as Gonfi retakes the half wall so far, and Super should be able to make his way back to site up onto Metal. He's got to be very wary of this kind of angle coming out from easily as well. Up into CC, gives get a little bit, but just about halfway into the round now. We've got plenty of time for Rogue to try to bring this back. They have, of course, got that man advantage.
Well, with the 90 camera down, they have a little bit more sense of stability. Super's going to try and dig in on Central as much as he can, and he's waiting for the body to get a bit wide and rotate, but Rogue aren't going to take that firefight. Instead, rappel over the top and potentially try and take control from the AC side. In the meantime, Gonfi has found himself dug in with a little bit of an extension into offices and is going to try and hold against the gridlocks that have otherwise gone down. And, well, Gonfi almost goes down himself as a dock and can get himself back up, as we've just seen, but with Vertical creeping his way around and using that to his advantage, it's a very easy pickup. Only one body left in the side of Super, and unfortunately he has passed on as well. 2-0 for Rogue, and so far it's looking very good.
Yeah, it is looking all Rogue right now. They're bringing the same lineup every round. They're adapting to what Soniqs is putting down. That CC Hulk completely, not dismantled, but just completely ignored at the end. They had a great push. I think Slashhug really just picked it all up there. It's slow, like, last-minute mistakes like that, where Goddess wasn't quite on that cam at the right point, and she just gets punished for that. Really good opportunity taken coming out from Slashhug to get into half wall and get that control. And again, like, opening picks coming out from Rogue, easily getting the opening pick yet again. Kind of weird to see a secondary support getting 2 opening picks.
Yeah, whether obviously we didn't really see the first and whether it was down to clever standard pre-firing, but the second was a great response to the man that jumped out, which just shows that they are, you know, they have their attention kind of set on these potential, you know, loose and aggressive plays. Talking of, Vigil is now on the board for the first time today, swapped off from the Mozzie. So, you know, one of the things about this game that you're kind of instantly reading on is the lack of portable information that it seems that Soniqs are leaning into. They're going with these aggressive holds. They've got the Maestro to have the cameras, which, as you said, slightly late usage in the previous round, but they are going up and they are being put in positions. At the same time, you're thinking, well, why aren't they, you know, there's Valkyrie on the board, yes, there's Mozzie, but it didn't look like the information was coming through too thick and fast for them, and you're kind of curious how much of this is going in as an attempt at just trying to pick up bodies, and how much of this is an attempt at trying to set up just some information kind of backlog to be able to read what Rogue is attempting.
So, it's interesting that Soniqs would go back to Armory yet again. Most teams, when they've lost site twice in a row, they will go somewhere else, but no, not Soniqs. They will continue to start to go here, and again, we're going to see the CC hole coming out for them. We're going to see Super on the Vigil here. He's been the main person who's kind of on that kind of like main flex, right? Like, he's been changing up his operators every round so far. We're going to see how that is going to be working out for him. I'm not sure if the Vigil's the correct play here, because like normally I would like a Vigil here and like a heavy roam if you know that Rogue are going to do like that downstairs clear. But we haven't seen Rogue go downstairs whatsoever right now. They haven't brought a buck, they haven't brought any kind of nades or anything like that. They're completely unconcerned with doing a downstairs push.
They've been very kind of strict on what they're doing as well, Rogue. They've been happy to kind of push as a unit and push as a team against the areas that they need to get control of. So, as we see, they're surrounding themselves around CCTV from the repels, but they're not being over-aggressive with it. So far, not a huge amount of them throwing themselves. They're happy to set up to cover the flanks, push the operators, as we said, which was why Capital was taken off the table because he's so good at it, and then force them to make mistakes. In the meantime, they're controlling space like this, as they've done every round. Throw the tracks down the long corridor and make sure that there's no quick, fast rotations, and at this point, it's just a room-by-room kind of basis clear. They don't have to do too much underground. And we've already seen an attempt from underground play and a C4 previously, but it was just a little bit late to the rip. In the meantime, Sleben, first off the table as Super goes for a quick run out and does find one, but easily has also found Gomfi at the same time.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's a good kill coming out from Super. Eclipse going to go down very early on. Neptune's with a long angle through onto Fountain, but isn't going to be able to find a pick from it. But Super's roam, while successful, CC hold does get dismantled by Rogue, and they have that control now. And they have a minute left to work with as well. The only issue for them now is how are they going to get Goddess out from behind that half-wall position. She's got a gun up, but there goes Neptune's. A great pick coming out from Vertical. Now they have a lot of control. Super comes up the east stairs. There goes Goddess. It's all down to Super in a 1v4 to try and bring this in right now. Tries to go for the run out onto east stairs, but doesn't manage to find anyone just yet as Brian goes for the plant with the diffuser, but all the way from the break room angle. I love that angle from Slashhook as Rogue take their third consecutive round here on Border. And I gotta say, Rogue are looking way more confident than they were in their last OGA game.
You know, we kind of briefly talked about the mental state of teams in this situation and how you kind of want to go out. Because arguably, to them, they've both gone out in a way. They're out of Pro League, they're playing in CL, they know it as far as, you know, is aware on the team's basis for the next season. So how do you run this final tournament? What is your swan song lap? And Rogue are showing up so far. This is the best that we've seen them play in the entire tournament up to this point, obviously, and it's the best that you've kind of seen them play in a while. They're really, really lighting up as their attack strategies. Everything's kind of falling together for them, and you know, Soniqs just seem a little bit to the wind right now. Everything's a bit too spread out. There's not really a huge amount of, as I said before, where the information's being covered, but the bodies sure aren't, and it's kind of Rogue just picking them apart.
It's a good adaptation coming out from Vertical as he's brought the Nomad along instead of Gridlock. I think at this point, maybe Rogue are thinking, okay, they're going to go downstairs now because they brought the castle. Because they've never brought castle before. But also, because of that run out from Super, they lost her. They lost a man to that one. And yeah, I think Nomad's good at kind of controlling that early aggression coming out from Soniqs. It's something that Rogue has always struggled to deal with, especially during that Okami game.
Yeah.
So I do like the Nomad pick here, and kind of also Rogue just staying ahead of the curve.
They've also, obviously, as Goddess has picked up the castle, swapped off the Maestro to Neptunes, who's now going to be picking up that kind of mantle, and Sleben is on the Bandit. So the entire Soniqs roster is generally, you know, they're taking a different point, but this is a point where in a lot of ways you can hold it in a similar fashion. You try and keep the vertical for as long as possible. It's a top-heavy defense. Yes, you do extend underneath, and you can limit the movement with the castle, depending on whether you want to put them around the kind of bathroom side, or whether you want to throw them upstairs, and it seems like Goddess is going to be playing towards the customs and detention area anyway, but it's, you know, it's the basic breakdown. It looks like Sleben dug in with the bandit is just going to try and hold on above for a little bit longer.
Oh, no.
Oh dear.
That's an unhappy face coming out from Goddess. Unfortunate. Oh, we'll see how things go down as we move into round number 4. Soniqs yet to find a round in their defense, and if they don't start finding one soon, things are not looking good for them. And meanwhile, Rogue have already taken CC control. Things are looking very good for themselves as they start to dismantle the defense coming out from Soniqs. And honestly, this is Rogue just looking at the setup coming out from Soniqs and saying, okay, they're holding a bit on CC, they're doing this kind of extended hold, let's just dismantle that first and make our way throughout the building. This is looking really good for Rogue already. They've got a lot of control, and I think Rogue have done pretty well to do that early in the rounds.
Well, yet again, we see more of the angles being held and more of the attempted shepherding. That has so far been pretty good in terms of how Rogue has taken control of what Soniqs is doing. Gomfi and Sleben, the partnership from EU, is looking to try and hold on to this side, and there is another run out and another body from exactly the same place. They do pick up the refrag this time. Brian covering the door and able to swing around, but they've lost the Zephyr, so those... Well, the Maestro Cams are going to be a little bit more of Ash's problem at this point. There's still a fair bit of work left to do, however.
Absolutely amazed there was no air jab on that front door. Super's done that twice now, and he's gotten away with it. Well, he's not gotten away with it, but he's gotten fragged both times.
Same person as well.
Yeah, no, it's
same
not
victim.
Good. Not good. Feels bad for Eclipse, but he will get traded, as you said, and that is a Nitro off the board for Sonic, so all well and said. That is good as Vert picks up one of his own and starts to dismantle the defense coming up for Sonic. We've got Goddess left alone in sight. We see Sleben and Gomfi both heading up from above. The EU duo. They're starting to get dismantled a little bit. Gomfi gets a little bit lit up on the cross as he comes back to the server hatch to see what he can do from there. Slasher trying to push up on the door onto Armory. Soniqs are looking pretty good so far, even though they're a man disadvantage right now. And another one for Vertical. Never mind. This is looking horrible right now for Soniqs as they lose yet another one. So hold on to the GSG9 duo to try and bring this in. Sleben trying to push through onto Armory. Chasing to find one, finds one, but no, instantly does get traded out. Slasher takes him down, and it's all down to Gomfi to try and bring this in. Brian goes for the plant of the diffuser in a 3v1, so hold on to Gomfi, see what he can do.
Well, he's creeping around, but unfortunately it leads to nothing. It's the first time the diffuser's gone down, however, as we find ourselves dumping down to the vent point, the first floor point of the entire game, so you know, it shows more of a comfort from Rogue. The change of points, the change of scenery hasn't really been anything that's affected them. As you said, they 6-pick off before they read into the castle and read into the change of pace. You know, and that's something that they're doing very, very well throughout this game. They're kind of reading everything that Soniqs is throwing up, and, you know, whether it's a mix of the prep that they've had left over or whether it's just this is the day that they want to show up. Whichever the weather, it's looking very good for them. Soniqs, they're going to return to Armory. 4th time's the charm, hoping.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I want to say that Rogue are looking really good here, which they are, they've done well so far, this is looking horrific for Soniqs right now. I mean, you're thinking you're not able to win the 2 core sites on border when arguably this should be defender-sided right now. I mean, okay, I get that this is Rogue's map pick, right? And they should be winning border. They are a decent border team. But almost every team should understand how to play border at this point. And we've seen some adaptation come out from Soniqs. We've seen some sort of different stuff come out from them.
Gomfi bringing the Valkyrie I quite like. As I said, I thought that was a big kind of missed step in the previous thing. Obviously, Super's rotated background to the Bandit that he played in the very first round. You know, for me, this reads more like a slightly more put-together defense of what they're attempting upstairs. Because, as I said, they're trying to keep their bodies a little bit separate, trying to keep a bit of a wider control on this top floor with maybe 1 or 2 shoulder covers, and it's not really coming together because Rogue are reading into it very well. So just give yourself a little bit more information about what Rogue are doing. Give yourself a little bit more you can play with, and hopefully it'll kind of come together. Neptune's trying something quick, early, and aggressive, and I guess we'll see if it can find a body. They've slowed their roll. The outline of Vertical takes a little bit of a breather, but who knows who's going to potentially drift in first. There is the drone that gets taken out, however, and Gomfi finds Slash on the floor below. The double-tiered peek towards the side.
I believe that's... I don't know. That's the second opening frag that's gone into the favor of Soniqs, I believe.
Second in a row, yeah.
Yeah, so... But we'll see Neptune's picking up one of his own as well. Brian is going to go down. That is the Thermite and the Ash, both off the board. Both the FBI pros going down. Rogue unable to deal with this heavy aggression coming out from Soniqs right now. A lot more confident coming out from them. This is exactly what we want to see from Soniqs, and exactly the issue that Rogue normally has. As there we go, the Bandit of Super from below will find Eclipse once more. And this is looking horrible for Rogue as they lose another one in the long peak as well. Neptune finds a double kill, and it's all down to Easily to try and bring it in a 1v5. Oh, he finds one. There goes Sleben. Let's see if we can find 4 more.
Well, he's deadly, trying to make something out of nothing. With Super on a fraction of health from this point, it's just a matter of seeing if they can then begin to collapse down upon it. The default cam still up a bit later in the day to try and take care of that, but I guess when you've got a minute 40, you can go for some slightly wider rotates and slightly better positions. The drop down is still intact of offices, so it allows a bit of a big rotate here towards the sides. There, yet again, there's another default cam and another default cam. It shows just how far Rogue didn't really get into the building. Swings through onto offices, but there is Super to end the run and the round and give themselves 1. But, well, now they've got to opt for another point, and events didn't quite go their way.
I think if Soniqs just continue to be aggressive and kind of bring out their inner Okami, I think they can really actually start to bring this back. The heavy aggressive play and just the peak everything mental attitude, Rogue have consistently just not been able to deal with whatsoever. And it's not like we have any bad players on Soniqs, really. Sleben, Gomfy, Neptunes, definitely really well-known fraggers throughout EU and NA, respectively. So, you know, I think this honestly, like, a peak everything strategy could actually work quite well for them. We'll see if they stick with that one, however, as we go, as you said, to Vents and Workshop. Rogue should be aware of this, however, and we will see the Nomad coming out from them.
Yeah, the thing about Nomad, obviously, they brought her the past couple of rounds, and she hasn't quite had an effect that you would, well, hope for and expect for. The one run outdoor that was tried twice was effective even the round when Nomad was bought the second time round, and then obviously previously, you know, they didn't quite get any real glimpses of control. So you're wondering when Vert is going to be trying to, or where as well, Vert is going to be trying to put those down, and what they're actually trying to get as their semblance of control against the point. If Soniqs find one more round before they switch their attack, that'd be a big breath of fresh air. Hitting it as a 4-2 isn't as tough as a 5-1, really. And I guess it's down to see if Rogue can take this with the same ferocity that they took this on the previous time round here. Goddess extending control with the castles down below, and the Jaeger's going to try and again keep some control just on that little kind of connector as Sleben does some free fall dancing.
So, Rogue can go again for their CC hold and everything like that. I do like the kind of opening of the sidelines here, so that Soniqs can at least impact trick or even nitro deny that hatch on CC. So if Rogue do this CC hold again, and Super runs out this front door and kills Eclipse yet again, I'm gonna lose my mind that they allow him to do that when they still have a Nomad on the board.
I'm going to say he won't, but you never really know.
You never know.
You never really know. Obviously, he's not brought the Vigil this time around. He's fallen back to something a little bit more defensive, but with the SMG-11, some people can make that absolute, well, mincemeat of anyone that crosses the fire. Still doing some point destruction as Sleben looks for something filthy through a bullet hole just under the barricade, but unfortunately no dice as of yet. Waiting on the supply room, waiting for someone to drift by. He could be there for a little bit of time, but there is, well, a couple of outlines and a couple of bodies drifting. There's the opportunity, but does not hit it.
Oh god, that is really unfortunate timing there from Sleben. He lost his sightline as the cross did come through. Super, getting ready for kind of some sort of push onto Vent's window, and I think this is a good position to have, I think, honestly. Like, playing aggressively here with the shotgun, very hard to contest right now. Drones will confirm that he is there, however, and he's going to recognize that as well. Soniqs still all 5 people up right now, but Rogue are going to gain that vertical control as Slasher destroys his own teammate's drone. That's unfortunate.
Well, able to crack open the hatch. They try and impact trick it, but a little bit too little, too late, and too wide there, as they're just going to swing wide and try and find a body. In the meantime, Vertical's there to try and keep control of the staircases as they want some destruction over above the vents point itself. And Eclipse actually successfully repels that time. Super isn't there to take them apart before they can make their feet land on these sidelines. Here comes more of this collective close down from Rogue as Slash opens up against Neptunes and puts the first body down. And with the Maestro off, that's a big control, hoping that the cameras are still facing the right way, because that is their only real information.
Yeah, 5v4, not looking too good for Soniqs altogether right now. They are quite spread out on their defense, We have that upstairs control going into the favor of Rogue as they try to make their way into CC and clear all of this out. Pre-fire's coming down as well, but they've lost a lot of time, right? But Slashhook does manage to get his entry kill. There goes Sleben. That's an important player off the board from Soniqs as they start to make their way in. Do have that CC control right now with Slashhook Disc getting one onto Goddess as well. That's a triple kill for Slashhook on the board as there's only 2 members of Soniqs left remaining on the board. But a lot of time is still in this favor of Soniqs. Gonfi does get that kill into vertical, shuts down and push, and will come through the flank as well. Super still holding outside, but Brian will start to go for the plant. Nitro will go out, that will confirm Brian, that'll deny the plant as well. This is looking really good for Soniqs. It's all down to Super to try and bring this in. They know where he is, but he's got control of the diffuser. He sees one, he gets the Eclipse kill. He's going to push all the way deep in, easily tries to contest with him. The shotgun goes through, he does find one, that's another one for Super, but he gets traded and Rogue take the round, he clinch it out. Quadra kill from Slashhook, a 4K on the round. Absolutely beautiful work from Slashhook on the vertical play.
Yeah, well, I think that was Slashhook versus Super in a battle of time there more than anything. That was an unbelievable attempt from Super to pull around that was completely swaying against them back into his favor. But in the meantime, Slash, great reaction and great ability to pick apart the man below who almost got away with, well, the heist of the century. Swapping over the halves now, 5-1, and it seems like in the past couple of rounds, Soniqs have at least started to wake up a little bit. We're seeing a bit more coordination, a bit more aggression, and a bit more, well, hope that they can bring this board around back to their favor. In the meantime, obviously, I guess we'll see how Rogue adapt, bringing Maestro, Mozzie, and Valkyrie, a triple threat of information. However, I guess we'll see if that gets 6th pick off, because they've dabbled in the 6th pick. In the meantime, Super, who has been a consistent 6th picker, has swapped out the Nomad for the Gridlock. 2 different styles of roam control.
You know what's interesting? Soniqs are bringing the exact same lineup that Rogue have been bringing for the most part.
It's the same strat pick. They're learning from each other, going, well, it works for them.
I mean, for me, Neptunes is a really, really good book player, and normally this is a map where you see a decent amount of book play, but we don't seem to see too much of that recently on Border, at least not in North America anyway. We see a very kind of site-centric push, but we'll see how Rogue wants to respond with this. Also bringing a very similar lineup to what Soniqs were bringing in their defenses, and we will see a CC hold coming out from them.
Well, I'm curious to see, obviously, how Slash decides to play this dog, because as we've already seen similar plays between the pair of teams, similar kind of setup sometimes, and yeah, I doubt we'll potentially see the same level of aggression, but at the same time, you know, you put one of these guns in the hands of Slash, well, he can do stuff like he might be about to attempt now. The kind of aggressive run-outs, the ability to take a head off from, you know, 100 meters and kind of get your way back to a bit of safety. Sees the information coming out and is going to go for the wide swing, but unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, just misses the timing and misses the head, but enough to put a little bit of fear into the approaching Soniqs as they start their collapse down below. It seems like Goddess is going to start trying to put some pressure alongside. Well, it's actually going to drone ahead, and there's the run out from the Valk. Finds one, and Sleben is off the table. Vertical. Kind of, you know, a little bit of payback for how the previous rounds were going.
I think that run out is way better than the run out that Soniqs were doing with Super going in the front door, but yeah, was able to get that early frag as well. He still has that nitro pressure from below as well, on top of all of that. So things looking very, very good for Rogue here with an opening pick onto Sleben. Of course, that superpower player going down very early on. Just about a minute into the round now, Soniqs don't really have to seem too much control right now. They don't have anything open, and they're quite spread out in their defense. In their offense, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, they were spread out.
They were spread out in their defense.
To be fair,
well, so, yeah.
it's a fair point. Just, well, Super's trying to find the way in, and I guess the way to keep control of Office Wall and make sure that Trip doesn't, I guess, well, become another run-out possibility. With Neptunes trying to take a bit of close coordination here, going to drop the Claymore and let that fall down, but Goddess is on a bit of a rappel battle, and it was only really going to go one way. You know that they're playing those plays, and the amount of bodies that just fell to the blue is, well, not fantastic. Neptunes misses the rotate of the man, but when you're the only one left, maybe a little bit of secrecy about your position might go a good way. There is the final pickup on the body, but the crossfire is there, and so is match point.
This is looking absolutely incredible for Rogue. I'm honestly not feeling good about this series right now for Soniqs, because no matter what happens in this map, if Soniqs pull the turnaround of the century here and somehow bring this into overtime, which I think is very unlikely, but it definitely could happen, we go to Cafe, I'm not sure this is a great map for Soniqs, honestly, in recent history. We did see them beat Rogue here, though.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. It was obviously they 7-5'd Rogue on it not too long ago, but then they've come off the back of a 1-7 on it, and it really depends, as we've mentioned a couple of times, how the mental game comes through, because as we said, Rogue have woken up today. They're playing more akin to what we're kind of used to seeing under the name of Rogue, and they're really lighting up their attacks. Their defenses are aggressive, but it still has a semblance of balance in and amongst it, so it's really, really nice to see. Whereas Soniqs, it seems like they're kind of, I guess they're not really playing to the level where we saw them when they were beating Rogue.
I like this pick coming out from Super. I call this the Talon play. Talon, when he IGL for Tunes last season of CL, Season 9, he would often switch onto the Twitch when he felt like his team weren't fragging. So I like the the F2 play coming out from Super. The first Twitch we've actually seen this series, which is I think interesting given Rogue's somewhat aggressive playstyle with Slashug on the entry. Slashug's been playing a lot of entry this series, which I think he's definitely been doing a lot of since Brian's now coming back into the scene of things. We've seen him play Ashe, now he's playing Jaeger, he's playing Doc last round, so...
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Find bodies, find kills.
Well, we'll have a look how this sick pick onto the Twitch will go through for Soniqs, and if this is going to work out well for them. But Rogue, with a very aggressive lineup here, it looks like. Definitely like the Intel lineup coming out from them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the kind of breakdowns that I mentioned a couple of times, is the intel and the information is something that can kind of make or break this. As we see Slash get Goddess, get the Thermite off the board, and you're trading that against the Jaeger, that is the best trade to ever make. That is such a good trade. And, at this point, it's down to Rogue to kind of capitalize upon this.
Yeah, definitely. Eclipse, however, is going to start to do that. Neptunes just go down, but the trades will start to come through. Gonfi moves in, he gets a double kill, and completely clears out this this customs control. And they'll recover the diffuser as well on top of that. Soniqs looking a little bit better here in a 3v2. Rogue at a man disadvantage right now, but they still have easily. And of course, Vertical still up on the board, and they're still match points. Things still looking good for them, but Soniqs have got plenty of time to work with. And that Gonfi double entry kill onto customs may have just saved them the round.
Well, there's some drone work coming out. The Twitch drone looked like it kind of wanted blood there a little bit, so unfortunately it didn't quite find any. In the meantime, Vertical and Easily are going to double up, and they're going to find a firefight against each other. Unfortunately, Easily a little bit spooked by the spooky man of Vigil and tries to kill him. I guess that's Halloween still for you. There's a bit of firefight coming out on the far side, though, as Easily finds Super on the back of the push, but Sleben manages to get it down. And yet again, it's down to the EU pairing of Sleben and Gonfi, who rotate around as Vigil tries to go fishing from above. Easily putting more and more bullets into the man inside point, but they can't quite find the kill as the aggressive push comes against them, hits the grenade, hits the shotgun even, but the man lies down, and, well, he just becomes another body. And with 2/3 of the diffuser time left and the person already pushing against you from either side, well, it was a bit of a misnomer there, as we look like we're set for this first map to come to an end.
So I laughed there because both players went prone, expecting the other guy to push the other person.
Yep.
I always love that, you gotta love it. But Easily with the super shot, you gotta close things out. And it is gonna be all Rogue in a 7-1, very dominant map coming out from them. Of course, this was Rogue's map pick, so no surprises really too much coming out there. With a very, very strong half, however, for Rogue. Cafe is looking a bit uncertain here. I think, honestly, if we see a Thatcher ban from Soniqs, maybe we're not going to see how it is going to be going down, but we're going to have that coming up in just a moment.